Welcome, everyone, to episode 2 of the Overtraining podcast and to the second episode in the Ironman Texas build. My name is Parker Kurth. I am a triathlon coach with NVDM Coaching, and I will be your host for today's episode of the Overtraining podcast. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time on this podcast, I'm just going to be going through my weeks of training leading up to Ironman Texas and talking about all of the sauna battles that I go through during the weeks. I get lots of questions and comments on my sauna battles and my training, so I thought I would start a podcast, so that's what this podcast is all about. Now, before we go ahead and get started, if you could go ahead and give this a 5-star rating and review on Apple and Spotify, I would truly appreciate it. And leave a comment or message me or email me what you guys want to hear about. I'll have all my social media and contact information in the description box below. And lastly, if you do want to watch this, you can head on over to the YouTube channel, which will also be listed in the description box below. But back to the training. This week was a bit more than last week. Last week wasn't too impressive, but we finally started logging some numbers this week, so let's waste no more time and dive right into it. Kicking things off on Monday, let me actually pull up my Training Peaks account. That may help. So Monday, to kick things off, we had an easy 4K recovery swim. I actually ended up doing a set that I saw Christian Blumenfeld do. It was 3K straight. I did it with fins. It was 450 swim, straight into 50 kicking on the back. So I did that for 3K and then 1K warm-up of different drills and whatnot. So that was the swim on Monday. Let me tell you guys all the stats. It was actually 4,100 yards. And then average pace was 126 per 100. And average heart rate was 116. Now, we did go into the sauna on Monday, 20 minutes and 19 seconds in the sauna. I met a Russian, actually, Alex. I knew he was Russian by his accent. For those of you that don't know, I'm actually Czech. My mom is Czech, and so I have a good idea of different accents and whatnot. But I started talking with him. He's a super nice guy, and his son was also named Alex, actually, and he used to do triathlons. So we talked about that for a bit. And then I also met John, who is a runner and is good friends with one of my running buddies, Nolan. Nolan, if you're watching this, I met John in the sauna on Monday. And John is actually training for the Boston Marathon. And he actually said something pretty interesting. So the Boston Marathon is on a Monday. And so he actually structured his training so his long run is on a Monday instead of your typical Sunday to replicate that of the race. I thought that was pretty interesting. So he was actually in the sauna post long run. He just knocked that one out. I hope it was a good one. And then after the swim, we had an easy ride. It was supposed to be 3 by 10 minutes at zone 1 and drill, one-legged drill. I did the drill, but then I saw that the Tour de Watopia on Zwift is going on, and I want to get the kit. And so instead of doing the 3 by 10 minutes at, I think it was supposed to be 195 watts, zone 1, I ended up just doing a super easy ride around Watopia to get the first badge. Let me tell you guys the stats. So average heart rate for the 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 21 seconds was 126, and average power was 187. Didn't leave any comments on that, so yeah, easy workout. Just getting into the swing of things. That's kind of the way my Mondays are typically structured. Usually a 4K easy recovery swim, and then an hour or so easy ride. I find that taking a full day off, I actually feel worse than like the following day than if I just did an easy day just to get some blood moving. So that's why we do some sort of light movement on a Monday. There is the occasional time when I have to take a full day off, but that usually happens when we overtrain. Anyway, going on to Tuesday, still felt a little bit weak. I got my wisdom teeth taken out and I got sick the week prior, so I'm still kind of coming back from that. So I wasn't at 100%, but we felt better. So we had a swim The main set was 12 by 100 all aerobic, and it was pull with the buoy for the first 6 and then paddles for the final 6, and then some 200s after that, also pulling. Ended up doing 4,500 yards. And yeah, like I said, felt a little weak, could tell that I wasn't 100%, but we're getting better every day. Oh, and then after the swim. So this was the first hard sauna set. I think I overcooked it a little bit on the sauna this week. Next week we will not be doing sauna every day like we did this week. But we have a little thermostat in the sauna. It was 235 degrees on this way. It was a hot one. I did 22 minutes and 20 seconds at 235 degrees. And man, I started seeing some spots actually. So that was a hot day. I didn't. No one even at the. No one walked into the sauna either. So just me, myself, and I. And sauna sets by yourself, man, they are twice as hard. So that was one of the hardest sessions this week actually. Anyway, heart rate was still high on the bike. It took a while for it to come down, but we actually had somewhat of workout. It was 5 by 8 minutes, supposed to be right around LT1. I took lactate after 210 watts, so let me tell you guys the progression of the workout. After the warm-up, the first 8-minute interval was at 195 watts, and then we did another interval at 205 watts, and then 210 watts, and then I took lactate, I believe, after the first 210 watt interval, and my lactate was 1.3, which is a little bit high, so I kept it there. I didn't ramp it up for the next one, so we kept it at 210, and then we did one more. The last one was also at 210, and my lactate actually came down to 0.9, so I was definitely clearing lactate better. I find that that's what usually happens with these type of workouts is the longer I get into the workout, my lactate actually does come down. But I'm happy that I kept it there, didn't push it. As I said, I'm still kind of coming back from sickness, and my performance condition actually went from -4 to 0 on my Garmin watch during the bike ride. So that was always good to see. And then after that, we had an aerobic run, easy 10K on the treadmill, 52 minutes and 54 seconds. Average pace was 8 minutes and 32 seconds, and average heart rate was 135. So heart rate's still definitely pretty high for that. I did run it at an incline, I think 1 or 2%. So just kept it easy though, nothing crazy. And then we went to the gym. Who did I met? Oh, I met Gray at the gym. Gray, if you're watching this, yeah, that's in my notes. I have notes for every workout. So, met Gray at the gym. And that pretty much wrapped it up for Tuesday. I did hop on the bike for another 40 minutes after the gym session on Monday. I kept it light. I didn't push it too much because it was my first lift back in close to, I did kind of a light lift the week before, but that one, it wasn't a real workout. So decided to keep it light, didn't push it, and actually woke up feeling pretty good on Wednesday. So happy about that. But I did hop on the bike for another 40 minutes and 57 seconds on after the lift. I just find that riding the bike after a lift helps flush the legs, and I always feel better the next day. So now moving on to Wednesday's sessions. To kick things off, as always, you guys will see that I pretty much swim first thing every morning. I just find that if I try swimming after, harder bikes or runs, it's a lot harder to do. I'm an adult onset swimmer, so swimming is my weakest sport. So I try to center my days around my swims. But we had broken 600, so I had 2 by 3. This was the main set. 2 by 300s with paddles and pool buoy, breathing every 3 strokes going down the pool and every 5 strokes coming back. And for the first 1 or 200 yards, it doesn't feel that hard, but it really gets you. The last 150, breathing every 5 gets tough. So that's something I'm working on, increasing my lung capacity, just breath control in general. I do think it helps. I've started doing a little bit of that in December, and I actually have found it to be helpful and I feel less panicky, I guess, if that's a good way of describing it, less panicky in the water. So I'm going to continue doing that, although it is not fun. And then after the 2x300s, we had 3x200 done, 50 kick, 150 swim. And then that was without fins, and kicking without fins, it's tough. 6x100 drill, 12.5 yards drill, 32.5 swim. And then 12x50 swim, done 25, focusing on the stroke mechanics, and then 25 with a high stroke rate. So that was a good swim. Actually, one of my good friends, Mike, joined for that set, so that was a lot of fun. It's always more fun swimming with others. Mike's, he's a fast swimmer. He's more of an open water swimmer. He's doing a 10K, actually, I think, later this year. So he asked me if he could hop in for more sessions. But that wrapped up the swim, 4,500 yards. Average pace was 124. Average heart rate was 122. Now moving on to the sauna. This was a fun set. 29 minutes at the sauna. Met Eric in the sauna. He was actually doing fast. He was doing like a 72-hour fast, I think, something like that. Talked about the Huberman podcast. He was a big fan of that. And the sauna is just a wealth of knowledge, I find, You always run into someone interesting. But no big sauna battles. The first sauna battle was on Friday. That one was something else. That one, yeah, I still have nightmares about that one. But anyway, moving on to the bike, very similar, pretty much the exact same workout as the day before. So instead of 8-minute intervals, we had 10-minute intervals, 5 by 10 minutes with 2 minutes easy. And let me tell you guys the power on that one. So same thing, we started off at 195 watts, then the second interval was at 200 watts, 210, 225, and then the last one was at 245 watts. Lactate after the 245 watt interval was 1.4, so right at LT2 where we want to be. And that pretty much does it for the big workouts. Let me tell you the average power. Average power for that one was 200 watts, and average heart rate was 129. Performance condition started off at 0 and went up to 4. And then the run, pretty much the same as the day before, just an easy aerobic run, did 7.2 miles. And that wraps up the training for Wednesday. Moving on to Thursday, it was supposed to be a recovery swim, and it was for the first 3,000 yards. It was actually the 30 by 100 recovery swim I was supposed to do the week before that I didn't end up doing. So like I said, the first 3,000 yards was easy, but then the master swim coach, Dave, actually hopped in the pool, and he was doing a workout. What was it? Oh, it was 10 by 100 with he did 2 rounds. I only did 1 round. But it was 4 leaving on a 130 base, 3 leaving on a 125, 2 leaving on a 120, and then the last one leaving on a 115. I decided to hop in because I like swimming with others, and life is too short to say no. So we did the first 4, held 114s, then I held 113s for the next 3, then the ones that we left on a 120, I held a 112 pace, and then I came in at a 110 on the last 100, and I'm very happy that I did not do 2 rounds because that would have been too much. But we hopped out after that. That was 4,500 yards. So swimming a lot this week, but this was really the first bit of intensity in the swim. Really, actually, first bit of intensity at all in the entire week. And then we had a sauna set. 235 was a hot one. And then, let's see, I have some notes here. Oh, yeah, this guy, we met, what was his name? Bob, that's right. I remember because he was a realtor. And so we started talking, and he was talking, I remember because he kind of looked like I thought he looked like a Rob. His real name he said his name was Robert, so close enough. I guessed his name was Bob when he walked in. But anyway, we started talking, and turns out his younger brother was a cyclist training for the Olympics. And since he was a realtor, we're talking about houses and whatnot, and I kind of thinking of eventually moving to Boulder, so I was asking about houses in Boulder. And we got into the topic, and I guess 30 years ago, his brother, along with like 4 other cyclists, developed I think it was brain cancer or some type of brain tumor. yeah, brain tumors. And he said something in the ground, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if anyone listening to this knows anything about Boulder, Colorado, and brain tumors about 30 years ago, then let me know. But it is what it is. Anyway, fun session. We did. I was in there for actually not too long, only 22 minutes on that day because I had a longer run and didn't want to overcook myself. But this was a fun workout. I've done it a few times. It's hill repeats on the treadmill. So it's a 15-minute interval pretty much, or 10-minute interval with 5 minutes recovery. I actually got this workout from Sam Long, and I asked my coach if I could do it, and she said sure, but we kind of adapted it to be more of an aerobic session now. I mean, it can be harder if you want to make it harder. But the way it goes is you start off at 4 minutes at 3%, straight into 3 minutes at 4%, 2 minutes at 5%, 1 minute at 6%. Take 5 minutes easy, flat, and then you repeat that. And so the working part is about 10 minutes at different inclines, and then the 5 minutes easy. It just makes time go by super quick on the treadmill. You're always changing the elevation or the paces. I ended up doing 13 miles, so a half marathon in 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 56 seconds. And pacing wise, so I started every started every block of intervals. So the part at 3% at 7.3 miles per hour. And then every time I increased the incline by 1%, I actually decreased the speed by 0.1 to keep my heart rate kind of in between that 135 to 140. So, we started at 7.3 and 3%, then would go down to 7.2, 4%, 7, 5%, 6.9, 6%. And then actually every round I increased the starting speed by 0.1. So it was a good run. I enjoyed that workout quite a bit. Time went by fast. And let's see, average heart rate 136, so right where you want it. Average pace was 809, so a solid set. I also biked before and after that. I always like biking before I run. I just find it helps warm my legs up. So we did 50 minutes easy on the bike and then 35 minutes easy on the bike right after the run as well. Average power for both of those rides was 168, and average heart rate was right between 126 and 128. So just some easy volume. And then on Thursday, Thursday we hit the gym. Again, we had leg day, and we had front squats. And because I was feeling a little bit confident after my gym session on Tuesday, I hit the gym, took it controlled, didn't push the weights too much. Yeah, I felt good. I was like, you know what? Today's Thursday. I'm gonna go into it feeling good. So we did the front squats, and first time doing squats in quite some time. And it's Sunday today. I'm recording on Sunday, and I'm still feeling them. So safe to say, I went way too heavy. Was not a good idea. But we got it done, and then we hopped on the bike for another 48 minutes and 2 seconds after the weightlifting session, just an easy flush. And actually my legs felt pretty good the day and the following day after it. It wasn't until, Friday, Saturday they felt good. Today was the worst they felt all week, so it is what it is. Anyway, going on to Friday. Once again, we kick things off with a swim. Oh, and wait till you hear about the sauna battle for today. But first things first, we had a swim. We had the main set was actually broken 600s and 400s. So we had 4x150 with paddles and pool buoy, 6x100 pool with no paddles, just a pool buoy. Both of these kind of aerobic, form focused. 6x75 with fins, done 25 kick, 25 drill, 25 swim. And then we had some 50s. We had 8 50s done, 1 hard and 1 easy. I was actually really happy with the way this felt. I ended up hitting, what was it? Hit 2 32s, which for me isn't too bad. And then I went a 31 and a 30 on the last one. So the fact that I was able to get faster during the swims, or during the 50s, very happy with that, headed in the right direction. And then I also met, I met a collegiate swimmer. I asked her how much her typical week was. And I'm feeling pretty good because I've been swimming, 4 to 5K a day. So I'm feeling pretty good. So how much do you swim? She says 50 to 60,000 a week. I don't know. Can you imagine that, Mom? Swimming 50 to 60,000 yards a week. And you think, so that's twice as much as what I would swim. That's a lot.
She only swims?
Yeah, she's just a swimmer. That's a lot of swimming. Yeah. But she was actually just coming over or rehabbing from shoulder surgery. So maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. Lesson to be learned there. Not, yeah. Too much swimming. Anyway, all right, here we go. So so I'm going to talk about kind of sauna battles first. So the way a sauna battle works is for it to be a battle, you have to challenge the person. And you also have to be in the sauna first. So if you walk into the sauna and there's someone already in there, you can't challenge them to a battle. That doesn't count. So you have to be sitting in the sauna, and then someone has to walk in, and then it's up to you. You can choose if you want to challenge them to a battle. And if you do, then the way you win is if they leave before you do. And if you don't want to challenge them, then, no worries. And so my Strava name is actually my record. And so up until this Friday, I only had one loss on the season. But now, after this set, I actually got my second loss. So the way it happened was, here. First, I start talking to Blake. Super nice guy. Blake, he was looking for a personal trainer, and I told him about my friend David. So hopefully David starts working with him. But he's actually lost 8 pounds already this new year from cutting out alcohol. So kudos to Blake. He's a huge tennis guy, though. He was playing like 3.5 hours a day of tennis. Yeah, but he said he's going to try to back off the tennis and try upping the weightlifting. But big kudos to Blake for, already losing 8 pounds from no alcohol in about 3 weeks. So hopefully he keeps that up. But then, David, another David. There's so many Davids that go to the gym. Not my friend David. This other David. Man. At first, I thought this guy was a super nice guy. Start talking to him, just chatting away. He was also trying to, lose some weight. So we're talking about that. And I decided, I've already been in there for about 18 minutes, and it's hot. It's like 230 degrees today. So we're cooking. But I thought, he didn't look like he was up to anything, So I was like, all right. And I'm feeling kind of good. I'm feeling confident. I had a good swim. So in my mind, I challenged David to a battle. And so we start talking. He seemed nice, and then we're about like 35 minutes in, and like I said, it is 235 degrees. I had to get out for my own, personal safety. And so, I give one last chance. Maybe if he has like 5 minutes left, I can hold on. But I asked David, David, how much longer do you think you have in here? He's like, oh, probably another, 10, 15 minutes. And let me remind you, he came in when I was at 18 minutes. And so I've already been in there with him for 15 minutes. And he said he was going to go on for another 15 minutes. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the loss. I'm out. And well, wouldn't you know it, as soon as I walk out, he comes right on out after me. I was played at my own game. Man, it was, I can't be too mad because I've done the same thing. People ask me, oh, how long do you come in here? Oh, I'll be another 20 minutes, and as soon as they leave, I'm not too far behind. But man, he sounded so confident when he said he had another 10 minutes. But it is what it is. We took our second loss of the sauna season. A little sad, but I had to do it. So it is what it is. Anyway, moving on from the sauna battle, we had another bike workout, and wouldn't you guess, it was very similar to the workouts I've already done, except the intervals were 12 minutes long instead of 8 minutes. So let me pull up the power. Oh, and for those of you that are interested, we ended up doing, how long were we in the sauna for? We hit it for 35 minutes on that day, so that was a tough one. Oh, and another fun fact, Blake said that his heart rate was at 170. I should have known he didn't have much longer. It is what it is. Anyway, moving on to the bike. As I mentioned, 5 by 12 minutes. So starting off, the first interval was at 195 watts. The next one was 210, 225, 240, and then 255. Feeling pretty good. Heart rate was at +4. Actually started off at +4, then it got up to +5. I only took lactate once during this set. It was at 1.2 after the 240 watt interval. So I decided not to take it again because those things are expensive. But heart rate did get a little bit high after the 255 watt interval. But it is what it is. Average, what was the average power for that? So average power was 206 watts and average heart rate was 130. So first, 2 hours and 31 minutes. Not a bad day. And then we managed to squeeze in an easy 4-mile run before I had to go pick up my mom. And then one more thing, which I did not log on Training Peaks, was actually I put together a little, how would you call it, a cabinet, Mom? The thing that I put together?
Cabinet
Yeah.
or furniture.
I needed a new thing to hold all my clothes and whatnot, so I put that together, which took like an hour. So that's honestly like 10 TSS right there. But it had really easy instructions to follow along. So anyway, that wraps up the training. If you guys are interested in the run, 4.09 miles, average pace was 8:04, and average heart rate was 126. Now moving on to Saturday, we once again kick things off with a swim. I actually did this set was something that I came up with by myself. Usually on Saturdays, my coach gives me the option. She writes me a workout, but then I can also do my own based on how I'm feeling, or I can hop in with masters. And since I was feeling pretty good, I decided to do this workout that I had in my mind. It was a ladder. So we started off at 100 yards, and then we did 100, 125, 150, 175, up to 200. And then we came back down the ladder. Coming back down, I did put on paddles and pull buoy. But I did wear drag shorts, and man, drag shorts make it a lot harder. I think wearing the drag shorts, it's at least 2 seconds per 100, if not more. But I held 116 pace for the intervals, so felt pretty good. Saw Brad, my good buddy Brad, who I used to swim with a lot more. However, he started a job in the city, so now he really only swims on the weekends, which is too bad. But anyway, after that ladder, we finished off with some 50s, actually inspired by one of my athletes, Sade. The day before, he did some VO2 50s, so I decided to give those a shot and see what I could come in at. So I did four by 50 all out on 30 seconds rest, and I actually came in at 29 seconds, which I think is a 50 PR for all 4 of them. Very happy with that, so I could tell that I was finally getting over the sickness. Things are coming back to normal, starting to feel good. And then after that, I did go say hi to my friend David, who was running on the treadmill at the gym, and then we hopped in the sauna. It wasn't too hot today or on that day on Saturday in the sauna. It was around 205 degrees, so I decided to put a sweatshirt on because I wanted to get the heat adaptation. So I put a sweatshirt on. And then, wouldn't you know it, another David. I talked to David. He was actually from England. He did the master swim that day, so we're talking about him. They actually did an hour-long swim. They do this every year. They do like an hour-long swim, so how far can you go in an hour? Talked about that for a bit. I told him about my family that lives in England as well. And then, a new guy walks in, Aiden. Met him for the first time. He walks in at minute 20. And I'm feeling pretty good because, as I mentioned, it's only 205 degrees, and I actually decided to take my sweatshirt off, so I challenged him to a battle. And I was still kind of mad from the loss the day before. So we start talking. He says he usually does about 15 to 20 minutes. So I thought I could hang on. But heart rate was starting to reach 120 for me, so that it was getting pretty high. However, as soon as I started getting antsy, I could see him start to check his phone, and that is a telltale sign that your opponent is about to crack. Once they start checking their phone, once they start getting antsy, once they start, twiddling their fingers, moving their feet around, standing up, then you know that the heat is really starting to get to them. So then you know that you only have a few more minutes left. So I saw him check his phone. I asked him, how much longer do you think he got? He said like another 2 or 3 minutes. So I knew exactly when he was going to be getting out. I set my stopwatch on my watch, so I knew how much longer to wait. And wouldn't you know it, just like clockwork, 3 minutes later, he walks out. And so I walk out as well. 39 minutes and 59 seconds in the sauna on that day. Although average heart rate was only 101, my max heart rate got up to 139 that day. That was a hot one. That one was almost, that one was almost as tough as the day before. And I knew and I knew the heat was starting to get to me because I actually ended up. I walked out of the sauna and I sat in the wrong bay where because we have in the locker room there's different bays where you can put your clothes in. I ended up sitting down in the wrong bay, so that was a tough one. Anyway, on to the bike workout, and this was actually a different workout than the ones that we'd done previously. This was more of a big gear workout. I really enjoyed this one, actually. It was a fun one, so let me tell you about the workout, and then I'll go into the stats itself. And so after the warm-up, the main set is the first there's 3 parts to this workout. The first part was 7 rounds of 3 minutes big gear at 225 watts straight into 2 minutes at kind of race cadence, so 80 to 85 RPM at 260 watts, and then 3 minutes easy. So each round is 8 minutes long. You do that 7 times through. I always struggle with high cadence. I love my low cadence. I love to grind it out. And so the big gear part really didn't, I enjoyed that part, but the high cadence, that always makes my legs burn. And then after that, we move on to there's some zone 2, so it's just alternating between 10 minutes at 195 watts and 10 minutes at 210 watts. Did that for 40 minutes, and then to finish off the workout, it was the same as the first part. So it was 3 minutes and 2 minutes, then 3 minutes recovery. However, the intervals were 15 watts higher. So it was 3 minutes big gear at 245 watts, straight into 2 minutes at race cadence at 275 watts with 3 minutes easy. And the 2 minutes at the end definitely started burning a little bit. And it'll be interesting to see how next week goes because I already have my training for next week, and it is safe to say we will be spending a good amount of time at 275 watts next week. So that's going to be a tough one. I did FaceTime my good friend Gabe, which was fun. He made the time go by a bit faster on the bike. Mom, you went cross-country skiing on Saturday?
No, but 1.5 miles.
Mom tried to go cross-country skiing on Saturday, but there wasn't quite enough snow. Not enough snow, sadly. Yeah, it's been cold, but we just haven't been getting just haven't been getting any snow here. It is what it is. Anyway, then we hopped on the treadmill. I watched Brody. For those of you that don't watch YouTube or something, Brody is a YouTuber from Australia. Love his content. Definitely go check him out. But I watched his video during the run. It was supposed to be so I decided to take a little bit easier of a run than what was originally planned, just because my heart rate was a bit high on the bike, and perceived effort was also a bit high. And I actually came up, so I came and I talked to my mom between the bike and the run. Told her I'm feeling good. I may push the run a bit. She said, Parker, no, you're just coming back. Don't push it. So I listened to my mom, and what was originally supposed to be a treadmill workout with some strides and a progression just turned into a treadmill workout with some strides. I did 10 minutes worth of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and then I was supposed to do a progression after that, but I decided to call it and not do the progression and just run easy and watch Brody's YouTube video. So I did that instead. Very happy, proud of myself that we did that, but we ended up logging 8 miles in 1 hour and 7 minutes. Average pace was 8:23, average heart rate was 130. Oh, and for the bike, I guess you guys want to know, my average power was 211 watts and average heart rate was 133. Anyway, moving on to Sunday, which is today, the last session of the week. Once again, we kicked things off with a swim, and this was actually also a Christian Blumenfeld inspired swim. So I watched one of his most recent videos, and this is more of an easy set. And we ended up doing 500. It was a 1K warm up, and then 5 rounds of 500 easy, either swimming. I mixed it up. So one of them I think was swimming, another one I did with drills, another I did kicking, another I did pulling. But it was 5 rounds of 50 easy swim, right into 2x50, kind of up tempo, a little bit pressure. I ended up holding 35s, 34s for the 50s, and then the easy swims, those are all across the board between 120 pace or 124 pace and 132 pace, depending on what I was doing. But I really enjoyed that set, helped it go by fast. And I saw Brad once again, and I actually told him I was finishing the workout as he was starting, and I think he ended up doing actually, I know he did the exact same set. So Brad, you're welcome for the workout. After the swim, we hopped in the sauna, but just an easy 20 minutes because I was pretty cooked from the sauna for this week. Next week, as I mentioned, we're going to be dialing the sauna back. We won't be going every day. So just did an easy 20 minutes, nothing crazy. I do think, didn't really meet anyone. After the sauna, though, I did talk to Mark, who is another swimmer. Chatted with him for a bit. Nice guy. I just like going to the gym. Going to the gym, talking with people. It's always a fun time. You do learn a lot. No, actually, I take that back. I met a Marine today at the gym. Talked to. It was interesting though. He was saying, he was saying how he was hurting more in the sauna than I was today. I thought mental toughness and whatnot, but he was also a wrestler, so we bonded over that. Talked about a few of his stories from the Marines, but he only lasted for about 10 minutes. And that pretty much does it for all the sauna for the week. And then for the run, we had our long run. So we hopped on the bike first, and then we had our long run. It was another good workout, treadmill hill workout that I've done in the past before. It's a ladder. So after the warm up, you start off with 10 minutes at 10 minutes at 1%, 5 minutes easy. And then the work interval goes down by 2 minutes, but the incline goes up by 1%. So you do 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, but then the incline goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in between each of them, you have 5 minutes easy. Some people don't like running on the treadmill for a long time, but I just put on YouTube and it goes by so fast, especially this run. Once again, I watched Brody's videos, I watched Lachlan's videos, and then I also watched the new Sam Laidlaw documentary. And man, that really helped. Like, I watched that for the second hour of the run, and I felt like I just started. But we ended up logging 16.35 miles, I believe. 16.5 miles. 16.5 miles in about 2 hours and 9 minutes at a 7:51 pace. Average heart rate was 135, right where we want it. It's supposed to be an aerobic run. I think we will be bringing some run intensity back next week. And then after the bike, what did we do? Or after the run, we biked. Just an easy lift. I was going to do a little bit of a harder lift, but because my legs were still kind of fried from Thursday's weightlifting session, ended up being more of a mobility session. I did a few plyometrics, but that's about it. We did, how long? 43 minutes of weight training, and then we did finish the week off with the classic Sunday time in the yard workout. So just hopped on the bike for 1 hour and 3 minutes. I have this weekly ritual every Sunday night. My last workout of the week is an easy bike where I watch the Global Triathlon GTN news show. So I think they post it on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I watch it on Sunday night. It's just a way to end the week, and gets me ready for the next week. Catch up on all the triathlon content and whatnot. So that's my favorite way to end the week. Now I guess it's time to end the podcast. So to wrap things up, I'll leave you guys with my total numbers. I'll just do swim, bike, and run numbers because that's all we really care about on this podcast anyway. So total biking time was 17 hours and 24 minutes. If you guys care about miles, 371 miles, but that's all on Zwift. Running time was, we ran for 7 hours and 32 minutes, and we logged 55 miles, 55.17 miles. And then swimming, we swam 30,600 yards in 7 hours and 17 minutes. So this was definitely one of my bigger volume weeks. Not much intensity though, so definitely lower on the intensity, higher on the volume. I have noticed that this week my HRV and resting heart rate are pretty out of whack, especially today. I woke up today and it was worse than I've noticed after some Ironman races. However, I feel really good. And so I always tell my athletes, and I tell myself, always take numbers with a grain of salt. They can show some of the story, but they definitely are not the end all be all. And I've noticed this in the past as well when I'm first coming off of, some off or some time off, vacation, whatever it may be. I always find it takes about 2 weeks for my body to kind of adjust to the increase in volume, training load, whatever it may be. And so hopefully, and I do expect my numbers to start looking better next week. But as I mentioned, I'm feeling good, and I do find that the swim is actually a very good gauge of how fatigued I am. If I can still hit paces in the pool, then I'm not too worried about, my resting heart rate and HRV being out of whack. But if I start to see my resting heart rate is out of whack and my HRV and I'm really slacking in the pool, then it's time to back off the volume, because then would be overtraining. But that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys want to hear next, and we'll catch you next week with some more overtraining.